seizing the word. I could say challenging, maybe. Don't think anyone would disagree with that. I think with the way we finished though, in the 50 over comp and the Red Bull games as well, may be promising. There's certainly signs there. I think we can be really positive moving into next year, so somewhere between the two of those.
I think the great thing about the county season is there's always the next competition's literally on your doorstep next day, next week. So the Royal London was starting, we were back in the Championship, and at that point, you know, we could still stay up, and we still felt we could stay up. So there was lots still to come to be, you know, up for and excited about.
We'd just come off the back of a difficult Cheltenham Festival, so it was a nice point to sort of reset as a group. It was a difficult start with Warwickshire and Sussex, maybe where we felt we should really have chased it, but following on from that, I think it was a really exciting campaign. I thought we did really well. Jack Taylor as captain was phenomenal throughout, not only just with performances with bat, ball, and you know, as captain, also off the field, the way he kept us all together after that difficult start. And then it was great to see other players step up. You know, Marcus Harris doing what we know he can do. Denty scoring his runs, Zaf bowled beautifully throughout. So yeah, and then obviously some of the younger guys putting in performances as well.
Yeah, I mean the Notts game, we went into it and actually looked at the wicket, didn't actually think it looked that good. We wanted a bat because we thought it would get worse. Lost the toss, they batted really well. Got off to a flyer and managed to sort of get themselves to what we thought was probably above par. But you know, the weather was really good, flattened the wicket out a bit, and you know, we put pressure on them early. I think Marcus started us off really well, and then once he went, Jack sort of took over and made my job a little bit easier. It meant I could play how I wanted, and Jack just came out and he was in the form of his life. He just was smacking everything out of the park. So, you know, it was one of those days which you don't get very often, and it was one of those partnerships that everything just fell into place, and we chased it down comfortably, which, you know, again, I think about it, and we're beating Notts, who are probably one of the better sides in that group, with that sort of ease. It's disappointing that we couldn't put away a couple of other sides that would have sort of got us through to the quarterfinals.
Obviously disappointing to miss out. I think, you know, 10 points would have been enough in the other group, but that's the way it is. We've got to learn from several missed opportunities and try and do one better next year.
Hit up and wide of the mid-on. And there is the victory for Gloucestershire.
There's lots of things in our sort of strategy that's really important to us, you know, delivering a great customer experience. People come to the ground, obviously delivering good cricket, you know, winning cricket, and to be also, you know, looking after our members and all those people who sort of come through to see us. You know, one of those things which has really resonated with lots of people has been around our environmental sustainability. So we set out a few years ago to become the most environmentally considerate and sustainable cricket club in the world. You know, we are very open in our admission that, you know, we've got an awful long way to go on that, and that we're learning. But it has been a year where we have started to see some real changes and some real interest in that, not just from ourselves, but from the wider cricket world, and indeed outside of that. You know, we are working very closely with the ECB on some ideas. We've been nominated for a couple of awards relating to our environmental programmes. And most importantly, we know that it's something that's really important to the people of this part of the world and so many of our supporters. So we've got a lot more to do and a lot more to go, and you know, hopefully people will have seen the space we're doing with local groups and the community growing space we've got. They will have seen the work we've done with putting electric vehicle charging points in, additional bike racks. But in many respects, that's scratching the surface of what we want to do. I think the work we've done with our community, you know, in all its forms, has been one of the highlights of the year for me. I think the engagement we have had from various people and groups has been tremendous, and we've always stood by the fact that, you know, we have to be more than just a cricket club.
Both community days this year were special occasions. Great to have one at either venue, either home venue. And it's important that we keep bringing new people to the stadium, to Bristol, to Cheltenham, to watch cricket, but also to enjoy the venue we've got. So initiatives we looked at in 2022 would include, a lot of helping people. Difficult times for many at the moment, and we'd like to think we're supporting the community as much as possible. We're fortunate enough to have great facilities here at the Seat Unique Stadium, and we want to be using those year round. So not just having cricket here in the summer months, but making sure people know that we are available and supportive consistently throughout the year. Something that seems quite special within the Gloucestershire cricket playing staff is the willingness and the want and the drive to support so many community initiatives. I think it goes further than a responsibility and a role model. It dives into players who really want to make a difference off the field. I think we have a group of humble individuals. We have a group of knowledgeable, down-to-earth people who want to make a difference, and it's up to us to help them do that.
Engaging with the community these days is so important. I think lots of people from the outside see cricket as a sport for the older generations, and I think having those days that promote it and allow people that access to come and watch us is really important. I know us as a squad would really enjoy getting involved with signing autographs and joining in with community days and initiatives, and I know me and Lacey and Dempsey, we did one for the hospice earlier in the year as well, which we really enjoyed and found inspiring. So it's not just as of benefit to the community, we certainly learn and benefit from it as well, so it's awesome that we're so engaged with them.
Yeah, it was great to finish the season with three really solid performances in the Red Ball comp. I think we'd been close at times throughout the rest of the year. Results hadn't gone our way and it'd been quite tough, but we were still really positive, especially off the back of the 50 over competition. I'm not quite exactly sure what it was, but to be that close in 3 games, I think Somerset we would have really pushed them on that last day if it hadn't been for the rain.
I actually will take it back to Cheltenham about our momentum. I think pushing for that win against Northants, actually putting ourselves in that position to actually win a game again after having a tough period of championship matches. Getting into that position to learn to win again, or learn to get into those positions again, helped us come Somerset, Warwickshire and Yorkshire in the end, because we didn't think we were going to get a win the whole season, and that was worrying. And then to have 2 wins in a first division, probably like we haven't played in it, I think it was for 17 or 15 years, around there. To have that first win was amazing.
Well, the whole of the Royal London and the end of the season was probably some of the most enjoyable cricket I've played. It probably looks silly from the outside, like we're taking wickets and we're already down, and we're going mental and loving it and still well in the battle. I think we really shook up the relegation battle at the end. We showed that we're a high quality team, which during the season probably people thought we were the whipping boys of Div 1, which wasn't the case.
I think if you'd gone into the change room, you wouldn't have known it was just when we got relegated. So I think we were all really wanted to put in a good performance. We were really desperate to get that first win and felt like we deserved it. We felt like we were really close at times. Look back at that game, very happy memories. Sort of, it was nice on a very personal level to get those wickets, but also as a group, I think we worked incredibly hard. I mentioned it at the time, but the 4 of us in that attack, I can't remember if it was 5 actually at the time, the 4 of us in that attack, other guys could have got the wickets. It was just a case we all plugged away and worked really hard, and then the batters, I think it sort of fails to get mentioned, but the chase there at the end, that was a really difficult wicket, and so Denty and Jeevy putting in performances like that, it was up there with Yorkshire, with highlight of the season definitely, just in terms of the overall team performance. Yeah.
I just think we decided that we're better than not losing every game, but not winning a game all season. We knew that we were good enough and we should have won other games. And I think just that lease of energy, that new injection into the squad at the back end, finishing the Royal London Cup really well, definitely led into those last few games, and we were able to get a couple of wins.
Those 2 wins were amazing. The feeling in the change room in the back end was unexplainable, and the belief and confidence we created in those last couple of games, we will take forward. And individually, guys also took confidence from those performances. But I think the thing that hurts was we did get ourselves in a lot of positions to win games. And we just didn't get over the line for some other reason, you know, can't put my finger on it. Definitely massive lessons for everybody.
The last 3 or 4 4-day games of the season in 2022, we saw significant change in our performances, and I think having that balance of Tom Price and Ajit Singh Dale with somebody like David Payne, was absolutely brilliant in terms of from a skill perspective, and also the rawness of their potential with David's undoubted quality and experience. Similarly, adding Marchant to that group, we've got some other experienced bowlers that have played a fair amount of cricket in terms of Matty Taylor last year had some injury problems, but he was an absolute warrior in terms of bowling through them as well. So in combined with some of the other guys in white ball cricket, Paul van Meeker and Josh Shaw, and apologies to anybody I kind of haven't mentioned on this interview, but I think that balance is critical, and yes, frustrating, yes, disappointed, but equally that a year in transition certainly hasn't been wasted.
I think the arrival of Zafar Gohar and Marchant Langer, I think is huge for the club. I think it was very clear that right from the beginning that Dale wanted certain players on our side, and particularly we talked a lot around a quick bowler who could bowl well in all formats and had that experience of sort of winning at the highest level with a white ball in hand, and obviously a good red ball player too. And with Zafar, we had always said we wanted to bring a spinner in, and we know how important that is, and what a rarity it is as well in county cricket to find a spinner of that sort of quality.
Marchant Langer, I mean, it's been brilliant to engage him and get him on board. He's somebody, from my time at Somerset, I was very, very impressed with his character and how he is around the group. I know that in our group we have got a quieter group, and actually Marchant is certainly not on that spectrum. He's kind of very extrovert in his behaviours, but in a very respectful and positive way. But what a great influence he's been so far in his couple of weeks here. Feels like he's been here for years, and how he interacts with the group and how he's kind of leading in the gym and in the indoor school, working with our younger bowlers as well. So that influence has been very, very powerful already. And of course we haven't signed him for his influence, we've signed him for those thunderbolts he bowls, and that's equally as exciting in the fact that somebody who can bowl that kind of 90 mile an hour and wants the ball and wants to perform in red and white ball cricket. Those multi-format players, I think, are absolutely critical. And I have to mention Zafar Gohar. He's been phenomenal for the club in 2021 and 2022. He's taken a lot of wickets. He's improving as well with the ball and with the bat. He's that 7 or 8 position. If I'm an opposition and Zafar comes out to bat, when you think kind of through the batters, it must be incredibly frustrating, because he's improving all the time with the bat, and he's scored some handy runs across certainly last season. So we're delighted that he's back, and that effervescent character that he's got, how he reacts when he gets a wicket, and ourselves, the support staff and the players, and of course the supporters, we want to see that emotion and reaction, see how much it means, the passion for him playing for Gloucestershire.
I mean, Zaf was a massive player for us all year. I think from the start of the season, I think he got 50 first game of the season, and he performed well across the board in the Champ and in the Royal London. I think in the Royal London, where a lot of sides were young and a bit more inexperienced came in, his experience really shone through, and his quality was so much higher than a lot of the other players on the circuit, which you come to expect with a guy who's as good as him. But he did it week in, week out. You could always rely on his 10 overs going for spit and coming out with valuable runs. By the end, you just knew he was going to come out and finish the innings off for you, which is the quality you want in an overseas pro.
So I think one of the highlights of this year has been, as ever, seeing the players develop. I mean, it genuinely is really exciting when you start the season. You don't quite know who's going to peak when and how they're going to do it. But to see, not only those younger players coming through and really hitting their strides, but to see some of the more established players start to get recognition. It was great to see Benny Howell and David Payne get their call up for the Lions and get to go and play, important matches for their own development. But to see David Payne go and play for England and the Netherlands was really, really special.
When Dale and I came into the club, it was a really good opportunity to kind of see what there is at the club, the systems and processes and the people. And there have been some changes that have gone on in the background. Will Porterfield has come in as assistant coach, batting and fielding. Robbie Joseph as lead bowling coach. And we've also made some changes in our pathway system with Mark Thorburn and Paul Mutchell coming in. And we've also had some changes within our science and medicine and psychology team as well. So yeah, certainly kind of come April next year, there'll be a kind of a different set of faces in the group.
I think we realise with the current group we've got, obviously we've lost 3 or 4 experienced players, but we feel like we've still got the squad that can challenge and come straight back up. We've learnt a lot from our season in Division 1. Lots of lads have found their feet and sort of put their mark on the side. And I definitely feel like with the addition of Marchant, Zaf locking himself in for a couple of years, we've certainly got all the skills available to us to go and put a charge on.
Going back into the second division is obviously not really the result we wanted, but we are in the second division, and I 100% believe we do have the squad to challenge to get back into the first division immediately. But I think we shouldn't look too far ahead, keep our feet on the ground and just play the cricket we know we can play. And if we do that, then I 100% believe that we can go up again.
Well, I think it's always the target to be successful on the field. I think we're in it in sport because we're competitive people and we love winning and we love the enjoyment and entertainment of sport. So of course we want to be successful. I think last year there was numerous kind of sweeping statements around how we're going to do it in red ball cricket, and I want to kind of avoid that this year because although I'm confident in the group and believe that we can get promoted back to Division 1, I want our cricket to do the talking and to be very process orientated in how we play our cricket and making sure that everybody's doing their job effectively, cohesively, in a manner of which means that we play some winning cricket. So yeah, I'm not going to go on record with any sweeping statements, but certainly I believe in the group that we've got.